Rebel farce loots Tripoli as Gaddafi flees. Rebel force liberates Tripoli. Earthquakes and hurricanes batter America, but nature still gets her butt kicked. Giant telescopes and particle accelerators search for mass, gravity, and the sugar plum fairy. In the UK, social networks should stay open in riots, says fascist state police spy. Hello Einstein's idiots, welcome to the FKN Newz. I'm 99.9% plasma. Here are the headlines tonight. A Libyan rebel and forces loyal to Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's money have fought running battles in Tripoli in the days after the fugitive leader's compound was overrun. The UK, France and America remain optimistic that soon the entire country will be in their hands. The hands of the Libyan people. And that Colonel Gaddafi will be captured and killed before saying anything embarrassing. Here's a special report on regional hypocrisy by our lying scum correspondent, Arms Deals Are Us.
If there has ever been a time in human history when monumental hypocrisy went hand in hand with Orwellian memory loss, it is surely now. As Western leaders contort history and reality into bizarre, unbelievable propositions, simultaneously trying to ram their absurd creations down the throats of poorly educated and mostly willing to believe anything populations. Gaddafi, they say, was a tyrant, a monster, and it's a good thing his rule is over. We have always opposed his tyranny and supported the struggle of the Libyan people to be free. No, we have, really. We have never supported unelected, undemocratic despots with lucrative arm deals for our own political ends. We have pictures of our freedom-loving leaders opposing Gaddafi's maniacal despotism. Here's some American tossers shilling weapon sales for their corporate whoremasters back home. Here's Tony Blair smiling as he sells Gaddafi anything he wants from BAE's Wargos catalogue. Here's Berlusconi, Sarkozy and Obama sucking the sweaty cock of Libyan oil and swallowing the thick, creamy goo of contracts for the boys. Whilst Gaddafi's regime publicly executed political dissidents and greased the palms of greedy Western institutions. But that was yesterday, and this is today. Today, we have always opposed Gaddafi's rule, just like we opposed the undemocratic rule of Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Wait a minute though, we support those regimes and sell them guns. Isn't that, just a little bit fucked up? Well, not really. Libya isn't some isolated incident of convenient but morally ambiguous arms trade oil company Western nation hypocrisy. Not at all. It is the norm. From Turkey to China, from Saudi Arabia to Kazakhstan, we ignore any amount of murder or repression in favor of our own global politic. In fact, if you're unlucky enough to live in a nation run by murdering scumbags, chances are we're helping them torture you, assisting in your incarceration, supplying the means of your oppression, helping ourselves to your natural resources, and probably getting your children into debt at the same time. After all, we are the good guys.
And in a related story, God is great and totally real and should be at the center of our lives, because it's really important that we have a delusion that allows us to kill and destroy our biosphere without regard to future generations or non-believers. To this end, all the world's great delusions meet every 3 years in Astana, capital of Kazakhstan, at the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. The palace is a Masonic pyramid and centerpiece of Astana's brand new capital of the world cityscape. At the triannual meetings, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus and other believers in googly moogly, hocus pocus and gobbledygook discuss how to streamline annual gift man shopping, aka Giftmas, and how to square the logical fallacy of respecting each other whilst their holy books call for the deaths of unbelievers, or at least an eternity of pain for not having exactly the right delusion. You've got to get your delusion exactly right, or God hates you and will fuck you up. The lying, deceitful, moronic, manipulating, child-fucking, women-hating, planet-killing delusions of Earth are hoping God can stay great in the face of declining congregations and the emerging realization by many that their spirituality has nothing to do with institutions or men dressed in funny clothes. One of the tactics being discussed by these creepy tossers is the unification of religion into all one God with shopping. A kind of one imaginary friend fits all deal that brings all the very worst aspects of religion together in a really hard to swallow fantasy about divine creation of the universe by some unknown method of mumbly voodoo, combined with a reality disconnect allowing you to destroy God's very sacred creation to make money for wankers who've got lots anyway. A spokesperson for crazy guys in weird clothes didn't say, "Most people on Earth already believe some kind of complete and utter nonsense, thanks to our colleagues' work over the years. It shouldn't be too hard to get them to swallow some new shit, because if you believe God thinks you're special and you can fuck up your planet because you're going to live forever in an afterlife of dreamy loveliness, chances are you'll believe anything." In the UK, military cortèges will no longer pass through Wootton Bassett, the town where hundreds turn out to pay respects to the men and women sacrificed by our rulers in the name of nationalist force, power, tyranny and militarism. The bodies of 345 service personnel have passed through the Wiltshire town in the past 4 years, mostly killed in Afghanistan. Union Jacks abound and sentimental tears are shed for those brave boys and girls who sniffed the Queen's pussy and decided they should die for it. Now, I'm all for defending my life and the lives of my family. I might even go for defending other people from murder and oppression. But the fact is, we are the murdering terrorist scum in this case. We went to lands far from our own to force people to have a government they didn't choose, whose leader, Hamid Karzai, even by international standards, is a corrupt lying tosser. Once there, we shot and bombed thousands of innocent men, women and children, justified by the idea of bringing democracy and freedom to a tribal land that hasn't changed for thousands of years and plainly doesn't want us or it. Let me remind you that officially we did this because Osama bin Laden might have been in the country. Just maybe. We're not sure, but hey, let's start a war anyway. Unofficially, the Taliban were cutting off the West's heroin supplies and refusing to let us mine their mineral wealth. Just Google it, people. Just Google it. So, farewell to Wootton Bassett and hello to not seeing on our TVs how many young people are dying for the lies and economic ambitions of the scum hiding behind the wafting sex pheromones of our breeding icon. God bless the murdering queen, and long may her pussy juice ooze over us.
Yes, Your Majesty.
9/11 still distracting radicals and subversives from planet rape and economic slavery. Famine solved by new charity starving people to be our pets and eat dog food. Gaddafi tortured, murdered, oppressed and imprisoned his own people for us. Hello murdering scum, welcome to the fucking news. I couldn't give a fuck. Here are the headlines tonight. 10 years on and 9/11 is still being rammed down the throats of anyone delusional enough to believe it, as an excuse to slaughter sand niggers, steal oil and milk taxpayers dry for the arms trade bankistocracy. Meanwhile, counterculture adopts wishful thinking, irrelevant protest and poor slogans as tactics. I mean, the truth movement. Really? How about the outrageous lie movement or you're having a fucking laugh movement? Here's a special report from our mindfuck correspondent, Tawdry Sideshow. "9/11 is back. And it's better than ever. Bigger, more deathy, with extra terror. 9/11, now with Iran nuke and Pakistan suicide scary. 9/11, more expensive, with new footage of the Gestapo raping your privacy and torturing in the name of love. 9/11, come on, yeah baby."
The anniversary of 9/11 plays out like a celebration. We may not have won the war on terror, and we never will, but by golly, we spent a lot of money not losing it. The war on error has virtually bankrupted American people, while corporations who make the hardware to fight it have never been more profitable. Their shareholders number only a few wealthy people, but we're keen to give them all of our money to protect us from imaginary dangers. Oh, we're so scared, please sell us into debt, says frightened America. Oh, please fuck me some more for the war on terror. Take more of my wealth and channel it into the arms trade. Oh, please save my country from having a decent education, health care for all. Turn us into the Nazis of the planet on the world stage. Take our young men and women to poorly armed foreign shores, to steal resources and kill women and children. Oh, save us from the terror that stalks us at home and would murder us in our beds, or at least blow up its underpants. Anything to stop the terror. Ugh. But is there any terror? The number of people worldwide who are killed by Muslim/Al-Qaeda type terrorists is maybe a few hundred. It's basically the same number of people who die drowning in the bathtub each year, says John Muller, an Ohio State University professor. Undoubtedly, he says, more American citizens died overseas from traffic accidents or intestinal illness than from terrorism. 8 American civilians died worldwide in terrorist attacks last year. 8. Whilst 29 died after being struck by lightning. That's the threat, in the name of which a vast security state is constructed. Wars and other attacks are continued to be launched. Trillions of dollars transferred to the private security and defense contracting industry, while Americans, as they face massive wealth inequality, are told they must sacrifice their civil liberties, public services, and anything else not needed by the very rich to secure the notional safety of 8 people. Ha 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 ha! If I wasn't a figment of Deke's imagination, I would weep. This is Tawdry Sideshow for the FKN Newz, laughing in your face.
Thanks, Tawdry Mindfuck. And as the celebrations for 9/11 ooze out of the mainstream media, perhaps it's worth repeating, I don't give a fuck. As stocks crash, war rages, and famine sweeps the land, many people want to have a party. The search for enjoyment, happiness, or fun in life has become much more important. Here's Rabid Hedonist with this report.
So you wanna have a good time? Well, tough shit. Life is a grasping rat race for economic status, and enjoying it is the preserve of uber-wealthy, mansion-dwelling playboys or supermodel socialite lovely people. All you ugly, poor, struggling economic slaves have to look forward to is austerity, fear, tension, insecurity, state surveillance, gradual planetary degradation, environmental collapse, social unrest, longer hours, higher taxes, and short lives of anxiety and status grasping. Fun for you will be buying some shit you don't need for the momentary pleasure of owning a piece of plastic crap made in China from the entrails of planet Earth. Your party will be getting drunk on industrial poisons, waving your dick at billboard porn, consuming buckets of slop, fat, salt and sugar, cheering your neo-fascist national team on during sanctioned advertising sportsgasms, and praising Jeebus for the good sense to help you kill brown people while you suck his imaginary cock of salvation. Should your addled brain momentarily glimpse your own putrid complicity in the nightmare we created, state-sanctioned medicines will be applied to warp your mind until you find it all acceptable. Yeah baby, let's party to the shoppers of Earth as the make shit eat shit economy squeezes out another steamy log. We'll be back for seconds. What else are you gonna do? All the good drugs are illegal and music is a mediocre mix of porn video and celebrity franchise. So just put the TV on and have a Coke. It's as good as it gets.
Hey, it's me, Conspiracy Clown, because it's not enough your government are lying, murdering scum. So, it has been reported that there was some kind of problem with the moon landings and that they were faked by the US government. They weren't. Well, that's it. Hey, it's a short segment, this part of the show, just helping to spread the truth. Oh, what's that? You want evidence? You sure? Because normally a conspiracy just needs another conspiracy theorist to say it's true, and you're happy with that. It's very scientific, you see. I don't know if I can compete. Okay, fine. Here we go then. There's mountains of scientific data and corroboration of the manned moon missions. It's there. Anytime you heat-seeking truth missiles take your all-seeing eye out of your ass and focus on it instead of some delusional video you watched at the University of YouTube. There are tons of moon rocks and interesting facts about surviving radiation and taking pictures on the moon. Hey, hey, hey! Moon hoax videos never deal with scientific evidence. Can't work out why. Any ideas? Answers on a postcard to I'll believe anything anyone says as long as it doesn't interfere with my delusion. Right up until McDonald's open up a moon base. Watch out though, when a moon hoaxer takes his head out his ass, it's not pretty. Usually all sorts of shit comes out. Chemtrails, aliens in the hollow earth 2012, you know the kind of thing. Hey, hey, hey! This portion of the fucking news was brought to you by Let's Make Up Conspiracies testing how well our education system barely educates alternative people so they think they're smarter than everybody but can do nothing about the real shit going down. After all, it's not enough our government are lying, murdering scum, our economy is a provable fraud, and our planet's owned by a few wealthy tyrants. Hey, hey, hey! Well, it is for me! So, until next time, be well, be happy, be free.
In the UK, Europe's biggest arms show is getting underway in London today. The Defence Systems Equipment International is Europe's largest defence show. Here's a promotional video from BAE Systems. The UK is the world's second largest arms exporter and is rightfully proud of its machinery of death. Among those we've invited to the exhibition are delegations from China, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Colombia, Pakistan, Oceania, Eurasia, Hades, Mordor, and the Netherworld. Because at BAE Systems we understand that killing, maiming, and intimidating your population is important to you. That's why we make a complete range of horrific equipment to help you do it. From high-tech surveillance to testicle electrodes, from child-maiming cluster bombs to bunker busters, our ordnance is second to none. Need to fight off your oppressed masses? No problem. We've got the guns, tanks, armored vehicles, tear gas, and handcuffs to fuck up your dissenting economic slaves' plans for liberation. Special discounts for dictators, tyrants, and unsavory regimes. Royalty welcome, demonstrations available on request, as seen on TV in Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. Blah, blah, blah. BAE Systems. Killing, oppression, and the defense of exploitation. It's our business. Why take a chance on anything else? Bomb of the week! Bomb of the week! This week's Bomb of the Week was in that peaceful haven of tranquility, Kabul in Afghanistan, where a cargo truck packed with explosives struck a NATO outpost south of the capital late on Saturday, killing at least 5 people and wounding 77 coalition troops. The injury toll was one of the worst for foreign forces in a single explosion in the decade-long war, and it's our Bomb of the Week. Join us again as we bomb and get bombed for peace and freedom on Earth. World Peace Day, celebrated by hippies, acid casualties, and weirdos on the internet. IMF warns of double-dip, scary debt monster recession-y danger under the bed. Ooh. Iranian terror regime executes children and murders dissenters, just like our friends in China, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. Hello, economic liabilities. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm diversifying my portfolio. Here are the headlines tonight. Annual Peace Day marks an optimistic call by the UN for a global 24-hour ceasefire. Isn't that a great idea? I mean, the UN would like you to think they can do anything at all about the shit going down on Earth. But it's bollocks. America and its allies on the Security Council control the UN, and peace won't be breaking out anytime soon. At least not while their national economies hinge on arms sales. The idea that peace is wanted by any of the world's major powers is a naive fantasy indulged in by hippies and people who spent too long down the rabbit hole. Oh, sure, they want peace in their countries, where the nice shops are, but not in your squalid little country. Peace Day was started by the UN to coincide with the opening of the General Assembly, a day for UN agencies and aid organizations to safely carry out life-saving work. Peace Day, the very name tells you all you need to know about Peace Day. Our wildest unhinged ambition is for one day we don't blow each other's brains out. One day you might not be shelled from a distance or bombed from a hovering drone. Peace Day, 24 hours of respite from the industrial horror of modern war. Bullets ripping flesh, mines maiming children, bombs raining down on your home. Just for 24 hours, mind you. Wouldn't want you to get used to it. Peace Day will be followed by 364 days of unfettered murder. War. It's only murder if you're not wearing a uniform. Once you slip on a uniform, well, anything goes, doesn't it? Yes, 364 days of inhuman, dispassionate slaughter all over Earth. On every continent, except Australia. And it needs it if the arms trade is to remain the biggest business on Earth. Just think about that for a second, or even a day. Killing is our biggest enterprise. Big yourself up, humanity. You're lovely. Not. I've got a better idea than Peace Day. How about we call it Fuck the Arms Trade Day, or Smash Weapons Factory Day. Yeah, I reckon peace would last a lot longer than a day if we didn't sit around talking hippie shite about loving all mankind, and instead we get ourselves down to the weapons factories and fuck some shit up. Yeah, I can arrange peace to last a year, or maybe even a decade. All we gotta do is stop thinking and talking about war as if it's a naturally occurring mineral. Oh dear, look, some more war. How did that get there? Oh gosh, wouldn't it be nice if those bombs didn't make themselves, sell themselves, deliver themselves, load themselves into planes, and aim themselves at people? Oh well, on next Peace Day, I'm going to blog even more emotionally about the horrors of war. Perhaps then war will go away. You hippie gobshite fucks make me puke. War isn't happening, it's manufactured. It's a product. It's a business, and we know whose business it is and where the bombs are. If the ununited nations of Earth really wanted peace for any length of time at all, they should get a big fucking hammer and smash up some weapons factories. Otherwise, they're just whimsy-fairy dreaming magical wistfulness while the blood of children slop around their feet. More on that story later. The International Monetary Fund has warned that scary monsters lurk under the global financial system and more horrible unspeakable dangers lie ahead than at any time since the 2008 Frightfest financial scary crisis. Some European banks, the IMF say, are particularly weak and urgently need to get into debt with us so they can pay back the debts they owe to our friends in commercial banking. Bolster their capital levels. On Tuesday, the IMF cut economic growth forecasts for Europe, the US and Japan, fearful that some governments could not give their friends in commercial banking the money they owed them, and as a result, the business of money lending would become less profitable. Man, this is scary shit! You mean some bankers won't make a profit if debts aren't paid? Oh my god! They might default, and then the global economy may return to recession. Oh, I just peed my pants. Europe, the IMF says, should consider tapping its Financial Stability Facility, a fund set up to provide more debt to indebted countries. Aid. So that their debt never ends. So they can support their weakest banks. Meanwhile, in America, no one has heard or seen the efforts of ineffective protesters outside Wall Street. Not because what they're saying isn't contingent or factual, that greed is bad, that corporations are looting the planet. No, that's all true. But delirious consumers still believe greed, profit, growth, and exploitation are the solution. That's why the Fed twist is pumping $440 billion more debt into the system. Debt from the future. Well, you're not going to need public services soon anyway. debt the banks can borrow, so you can borrow, so you can spend, so corporations can have a little profit, so that they can borrow to invest in borrowing. What the fuck? Let's all borrow the entire future of all Earth's useful resources and squander it on 3D Nintendos and holidays to Florida. My children didn't want a future anyway, and we'll all be dead by the time the bill gets here, so what the fuck? So what the fuck? Lend me 50 million. I'm going down to the strip club and get overstimulated by the potential of titty futures and pussy derivatives. I'll never actually get laid, and all the money ends up stuffed in a banker's thong, but it's fun while it lasts. Final solution to debt-tastic debty debt crisis is more debt-tastic debty debt. Einstein may have been an idiot, say Einstein's idiots, as light speed increases. In the UK, peasants suck on the giant cock of lies as the dick of profit comes in their ass. Hello, leveraged bailout funds. Welcome to the fucking news. I'm pissing on you and telling you it's raining. Here are the headlines tonight. The world's biggest financial crisis since, last week looks to have been solved by genius bankers at the IMF annual meeting, just ahead of important negotiations in Europe about the Greek and wider Euro debt crisis. The stunningly simple and elegant final solution is more debt. Here's what some banker had to say about the final solution.
Do you want debt? Do you want totem debt? Oodles of debt? Trillions of debt? A debt so large that one country could not bear it alone. Then the solution is to exterminate all undesirable national bonds and replace them with one master bond for the whole of Europe. This pure Eurobond will allow us to enslave the whole population of Europe with one investment in your slavery, instead of the disgusting multinational sovereign bonds we currently have to deal with. This will be the final solution to national debt. This will be the beginning of one uber debt as we bail out banks and countries. We are building the future of the countries of Europe. We bail, giving us total control over all the financial affairs of the countries of Europe. Instead of Greece being a slave to a few wealthy banking creditors, now we rule all the nations, and we will owe so much money to the bankers that slavery will unite us into one vast herd of economics livestock. One super race of debt slaves, one pure Reich of shopping zombies, mein Führer.
Strong stuff from the banks there, but here's Lord Astor Rockerchild the 116th explaining the financial solution for the IMF.
Hello. Well, it's been a great crisis, hasn't it? Really it has. Well, for us anyway. So, instead of your national government issuing bonds in exchange for us printing money, which was a pretty good deal for us, national bonds will now be done away with. Instead, we will print euros, and everybody who uses the euro will be in debt to us. This, in effect, makes us your government, but of course we'll leave the undignified business of education and healthcare to some flunkies that you elect. Meanwhile, we'll wheel and deal your debt slavery around the world as part of a much more efficient global fuckonomics we're preparing. It's very good, you know. Now don't worry, you'll still be able to ignore your shadowy puppet master's rule and indulge your consumerist desires at the shops. In fact, we couldn't do this if you didn't, so remember to keep shopping and not give a fuck about your slavery. We hope the transition to a European super state will be a smooth one, but if not, there's plenty of fascist laws and police state machinery to deal with dissent. So, just to recap, the euro crisis is fake, so we can control all of Europe through the issuing of debt via one central bank. Nice. It's a bit like America, but with nicer wine and smaller streets. Your wishes are of course irrelevant, and if you don't like it, you can still elect a bunch of tossers to tell you bedtime stories about prosperity and democracy. Yes. business will carry on as usual, and the whole thing will be sold to you as a fantastic resolution to a problem we created. And you scum will celebrate it like we did you a favor. Now, fuck off and pay your taxes, or we'll raise interest rates. Toodle pip, suckers.
And we're pleased to have in the studio some investment flunky to analyse these announcements. Mr. Flunky, it sounds like the idea of national sovereignty is an illusion. Don't our governments run the countries?
The governments don't rule the world. Goldman Sachs rules the world.
Really? Goldman Sachs? And what do they want?
If you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.
I see. And why do they want to do that?
They know the market is toast. They know the stock market is finished.
Well, what about democracy and the rule of the people, by the people, for the people?
This is not a time right now to wishful thinking the government is going to sort things out.
I see.
That's a tough
thing?
one. Personally, it doesn't matter. See, I'm a trader. I don't really care about that kind of stuff.
I see. So tell us again who runs the country and what they want.
Goldman Sachs rules the world. Goldman Sachs does not care about this rescue package. Neither does the big funds.
Fascinating. Well, thank you for joining us, Flunky.
Hey, it's me, Conspiracy Clown, because it's not enough your government are lying, murdering scum. So, evil, satanic, Illuminati, New World Order types want to create one world government, and this would be a bad thing. Yeah, hey, right, cause having over 200 nations on the planet is such a good idea. I mean, we wouldn't want to stop the circus of the UN talking shite while the planet's seas are fished to extinction. Wouldn't want our forests to stop disappearing, and the arms trade to stop playing off all these different criminal entities against each other, just for profit. Hey, nah, one world government, that would be a bad thing. You stupid fuckers. The last thing the people who run this planet want is one world government. Yeah, keep your flag, your money, your economy, your army, your taxes, your pollution. Everything must have you. You must have everything. Your country must have everything and its rights. The right to poison the sea, pollute the air, exploit the environment. Hey. You think Exxon or BAE Systems or Halliburton want one world government? Shit, man, there's no money in that. Who's gonna be afraid of who? Whose currencies will we trade up and down in the fake economy? Whose ministers for finance and defense will we bribe and corrupt? No, let's keep nationalism and countries. They're such a good idea. One planet, over 200 little tin pot crazy fucking puffed up regimes demanding their rights as nations to piss in my water, fart in my air, and anal probe me at the border, cause I'm not from around here. Hey. There is only one planet and we all live on it. One world government would be great. For a start, we'd know where to complain when the food runs out. But best of all, we know who to shoot when the shit goes down. Hey. Until next time, be well, be happy, be free.
Astronomy news now, and the world is being prepared to discard the standard model of cosmology and astrophysics as new and contradicting discoveries are made and long-sought confirmations of obsolete theories are not found. At the same time, the Vatican is positioning itself to claim God created all life in the universe as the discovery of water and therefore life on other planets grows a step closer. Physicists announced last week they had detected subatomic particles called neutrinos that appeared to be travelling faster than the speed of light. It seemed to be an exception to the cosmic speed limit set by Albert Einstein's special theory of relativity. But that's bollocks. Here's our science correspondent, Professor Grant Funding.
Well, evidence of faster than light speed travel has been around for decades and regularly reported in fringe science journals. The fact the establishment is trotting out this minor experimental wobble is a forerunner to a total retreat from gravity models of cosmology. Einstein himself knew on his deathbed he'd got it wrong, but it was too late. Standard cosmology, our best explanation of the way it is, admits to being a bunch of unfounded theories. The Big Bang is a theory. Dark matter is theory, dark energy is theory, quantum mechanics is theory, even the nuclear model of star formation is a theory. You might as well have witch doctors ramble on about dragon's eggs and swirling froth. Meanwhile, the Vatican will have a theological problem should/when we discover life on other planets, because the Bible doesn't mention them. So, God could appear less than omnipotent and start to resemble something imagined for you by charlatans to help despots control ignorant populations of frightened children. Astronomers have now discovered 600 exoplanets, and the next generation of telescopes will directly observe exoplanets and soon discover water and other markers of life. The Holy Poop and his moron cohorts are preparing their claim now that all of creation was God's work, even the little green men. So, when the little green men come along, delusional mumbo-jumbo believers won't suffer a logical breakdown vis-a-vis God being a load of bollocks. So, what will replace gravity as the fundamental force in the universe? Well, universe is physically 99.99% plasma. Of the four fundamental forces governing matter's behavior, the strongest is the electromagnetic force. Therefore, the study of plasma and electromagnetism will lead to greater knowledge of the way it is. That's the way forward, and Einstein's idiots know it. So, watch this space.
Colonel Gaddafi is dead. The former leader of Libya was killed by fighters in his hometown of Sirte yesterday. R.I.P. Gaddafi, friend of the West, beloved of our leaders, buyer of our weapons, torturer of your own people with our assistance, and also torturer of our terror suspects in rendition or repatriation to you. Gaddafi was cornered like a mad dog. Ha! The irony of it all. Gaddafi, mad dog, Gaddafi, get it? Oh, never mind. Dazed by injury, he was dragged out of his hole as the victorious, crazed killers and next government of Libya jostled to get the best pictures. It is the 21st century after all, and no assassination of your former friendly dictator is complete without dodgy phone footage of the victim to feed to Twitter Google Book, except Osama bin Laden. There's no need to see any of that. Gaddafi's end came after NATO jets destroyed his convoy. His army, his navy, his air force, and everything else in the country, in fact, except oil pumps and refineries. Bloody good show, actually. Good chaps. There is some mystery as to exactly how Gaddafi died, but honestly, we know you don't give a fuck about that shit, so it doesn't really matter. He's dead, and we've got the pictures to prove it. Check it out. He's really dead. Look at that big bad dead monster. Stare at it, stare at the death porn, till your penis gets a stiffy thinking of all the oil we'll plunder from Libya. Now we own the place. Look at the dead body. Do you see? Do you see? Excuse me. The Arab Spring has removed and unsettled many of our favorite dictators, but it's okay. What's coming next will be just as good for us. Honestly, no, really, it's a done deal. Just check out who backs their currencies. And don't imagine this is the last Arab nation getting the shakedown for Israel. I mean national security. I mean human salvation or something or other. Because there will be plenty more on this story for many years to come. This is Barely Human for the FKN Newz. Good night.
Hello and welcome to Infobores. Things are bad, people. The screws are turning and the tyranny is getting ever worse. Rest assured that here at Infobores we will remain on air forever if necessary to continue telling you things you already knew that were obvious to anyone with a fucking pulse and could be learned from 2 minutes in a history book. Yes, it's thanks to Infobores that you know the world is owned by and controlled by a small group of powerful people whose name only we dare to speak. They are the very rich. Yeah, the very rich don't want you to know that they own and control the world and all of its important resources, but we at Infobores are breaking through the matrix to bring you the truth and fight the evil fascist globalist agenda of the very rich. For years, nobody knew the very rich secretly had lots of money and power. Well, some people did. Well, okay, most people knew. Okay, it was obvious to anyone who cared to think about it for a split second. But what really matters is that we keep telling people, whether they know or not, that the very rich are very rich, and the very rich are very powerful, and the very rich are in control. That's what's important. What we don't want to do is take practical, useful steps to organize genuinely constructive events to change these things. Instead, keep turning into InfoWars. Tell your friends there's a war on to constantly remind you of things people have known since the dawn of time. InfoBores, telling you again and again things that are exactly like they always have been since monkeys fell out of the trees. The very rich are in power, and lots of other people are not. Join us next week to hear the same thing again as we broadcast to the world and confront the very rich with our powerful message. We know, you know that we know, you know we know. And we're not going to let you get away with it. Well, we are, but not for much longer, because we're going to tell the world again that that's what's happening. Okay, see you next week on InfoBores.
New Polytoy action figure out now, the Sand Nigger. A life-size posable regional pawn. Sand Nigger, the amazing new toy from States R Us. Sand Nigger can be your friend or enemy. He's any kind of nigger you want him to be. Get Insurgent Sand Nigger when you want to kill brown people or take over their country and resources. Or get Freedom Fighter Arab Spring Man when you want to kill brown people and take over their country and resources. Sand Nigger is life-size and easily operated by inserting dollars into bank accounts. Or self-actualized Sand Nigger with 13 specially recorded phrases such as Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, and Allah Akbar. Suicide Sand Nigger, now 2 for the price of 1. Or 1 free with every drone strike killing women and children. Get homegrown terror suspect Sand Nigger and scare the civil liberties out of entire populations, smoothing the way for a police state. Sand Nigger, now available in Syria, Libya, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and others. Accessories sold separately. Figures show not actual Sand Nigger. Results may vary, subject to central bank status. Conditions apply. NATO will not automatically come to your aid if you buy enough Sand Niggers. Sand Nigger, he's anything you want him to be.
I am joined tonight by Republican presidential candidates Herman Cain and Ron Paul. Mr. Cain, how do you respond to allegations that you like pussy, tits and ass?
These allegations are outrageous. I don't even know what pussy is. I have never seen any pussy or tits or ass. Even if I knew what ass was, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
So this woman who claims you grabbed her ass and touched her pussy, is she a liar?
You're goddamn right, she's a liar. I am a celibate virgin. Why, I do not even look at my own wiener when I'm peeing. These allegations are an attempt to destroy my credibility.
Ron Paul, no one has accused you of anything and your campaign hardly gets a mention. Do you think it's time you groped some titties or grabbed some ass? It might liven things up.
Ha ha ha. You're a funny man. You and I both know I could fuck a horse on Main Street and the media would still ignore me. However, if Sarah Palin sucked my dick, it would be good.
Do you think that the media would give you more coverage if that happened?
I don't know. I just like the idea of Sarah Palin sucking my dick.
May I just say, I have never sucked any dick. But if elected, I will perform the duties of president to my utmost. I will suck the dicks of Israel, China and the kings of Saudi oil.
Gentlemen, thank you for being on the show. If either of you get elected, I'll suck my own dick. Good night.
Hello and welcome to Doomberg. Silvio Berlusconi has resigned as Prime Minister of Italy, or rather he says he will once he sells the Italian people into sexual slavery. I mean, once budget reforms are passed through Parliament. Market fears about Italy's austerity package are behind the continuing turmoil in the Eurozone as bankers push for more and more concessions from political leaders. What will it take to save the Eurozone? I'm just guessing, but I'll bet fiscal unification will ride to the rescue. Oh yeah, baby.
You've been very naughty, sovereign nations of Europe. You've all borrowed too much money from the mafia, banks, and now you can't afford to pay him back. Let's see what Don Rocky Asterfeller III has got to say. So, Europe, you got my money? Why you not got my money? Ain't I been good to you, eh? Mamma mia, I give you all that money. What'd you spend it on? What you got for it? Nothing. And now, so now you come to me with your hand out. You come to me, Don Ducky Astrofeller III. Well, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. We're gonna put all your debts together in one central bank. My central bank. We're gonna privatize all of the utilities as legitimate businesses, of course. And I'm gonna tell you how much tax you'll raise on your people. Welcome to the family.
Of course, it's widely suspected that the mafia banks are the architects of the debt, the credit crunch and the bailouts, leaving a few wealthy people in charge of our economies and tax regimes. With widespread civil unrest likely to continue in Greece and grow in Italy, many people are struggling to come to terms with being bankers' bitches. Meanwhile, Silvio Berlusconi's political career is over and he faces a stark future as a multi-billionaire playboy. Well, old man. So, let's wrap up. Look at the markets. Fear still selling well. Insecurity's bottomed out. Hope is doing well, even though most traders acknowledge it's overvalued. And a quick look at the currencies. The dollar's worth half a gallon of crude oil, but only because we'll kill you if you sell it in anything else. The pound is worth fuck all, and the euro is worth saving if you can end up exploiting the 22 nations who use it for long-term profit. Thanks, see you next time on Doomberg.
Hey, it's me, Conspiracy Clown. Because it's not enough that life is an amazing quantum fluctuation of energy states. So, I hear there's going to be a spiritual revolution in 2012, and we're all going to achieve a higher consciousness. Oh, as long as you're a deep seeker of truth, open-minded, and ready to receive it, that is. I'm just saying that so if it doesn't happen to you, you'll know it's because you're just unworthy scum. Beings on this planet with higher frequencies activated in their systems will ascend to Dimension 12 and higher universal time matrix systems. These people will activate their higher light bodies and open up to at least the 5th dimension realm. Hey! This is the beginning process of creating heaven on earth. Woo! Gee, why wait? It sounds great. Let's do it now. You know, there's loads of broken children and dying old people who could really do with some spiritual awakening and higher consciousness, popping in to wipe their bottoms in the old folks' home, or giving those brown children a drink of water in the desert. Funny how you never see that. Hey, where's all the spiritual higher consciousness people when you're starving to death and rotting away in poverty surrounded by disgusting amounts of wealth? You know why you don't see that? 'Cause they're full of shit. Hey. Anyone waiting for the Spiritual Awakening bus or the Achieve a Higher Consciousness DVD should just start now. Come on, give away your material possessions, clean some shit up, protect the weak and vulnerable, donate your time to charity, or shut the fuck up. Hey, I have some news for you. All life, however high its consciousness, is an equally awesome manifestation of nature. This is the middle of time with infinity stretching in all directions, and 2012 is a meaningless number. The past is tense, and the future ain't as good as it used to be. Hey. Till next time, be well, be happy, be free.
Welcome, comrade employees, to glorious capitalist Republic of Earth. Our brave leaders and very rich people are meeting in Cannes this week to celebrate the victory of the glorious capitalist revolution. The G20 will represent the greatest achievement of the revolution. All of the world's largest economic leaders together with one common goal, one unified purpose: fucking you over for a buck, so that very rich people can have a little bit more money. It is nearly 400 years since the revolution began in 1640 with the East India Trading Company, a small group of capitalist heroes funding a venture to fuck the people of East India over for a buck.
This heroic struggle succeeded in robbing from, killing and enslaving millions of people. It remains the model of our glorious business practice. Since then, nearly every nation on Earth has fallen to our unified code of commerce, and we now stand poised to overcome all remaining resistance. At the illustrious G20, our honorable great leaders will be discussing your continued non-profitable status, the growth of your debt, and the counter-revolutionary struggle against the filthy, occupying forces of sharing and equality. President Sarkozy has stated that debt is the only way to get out of debt, and any other solutions are counter-revolutionary. And the venerable President Obama has said, if you can print your own debt, I mean money, America will help print it for you. And now, comrade employees, let us look at our glorious capitalist production figures. The reward of our heroic efforts. Work production is at an all-time high. Our enemies lie rotting in the fields of brown people's countries. Profits for all major banks are up, and poverty is way up also. And finally, wanker production has peaked in Cannes, with the world's top wankers coming together on a blank check for the banks. Thank you. That is all. Shop for victory, spend for your lives, and remember to die in debt.
It's not Christmas, Christ doesn't exist, and he wouldn't come back here even if he did. If you've been good, Santa Claus will fuck some peasants and destroy the planet for you. In other news, lying, murdering scum continue to be lying, murdering scum. Hello, conditioned consciousness of humankind. Welcome to the FKN Newz. I'm not buying this shit. Here are the headlines tonight. Billions of people all over Earth are robotically following the pre-programmed script of Christmas as they succumb to an avalanche of conditioning stimulus, propelling them into a collective delusional mental state. The annual orgy of hypocrisy allows these zombies to spend most of their year supporting and/or indulging in greed, indifference, slaughter, torture, exploitation, and so many hues of prejudice the choice staggers the mind. Yes, from nationalism, racism, sexism, classism, and religious intolerance, to supporting dozens of tyrannical regimes that supply our oil, food, labor, and cheap shit we don't need, most Christians spend most of their lives being as unfucking Christian as it's possible to be, without sucking Satan's cock and worshipping a framed dollar bill. Here's Jesus Christ himself with our special Christmas message.
Hello, my children. It is I, Jesus Christ, your Lord and Saviour. First, let me thank you for all the birthday cards and the donations. My father is keeping the money for me until I'm old enough to use it responsibly. In the meantime, he's letting various pastors buy coke, fuck gay hookers, and fund the Republican Party with it. But that's another story. I am here at this special time of year to kick ass and chew bubblegum, but I am afraid I am all out of bubblegum. So let's get started. It's not my fucking birthday, alright? It never was my birthday and it never will be. In 354 AD, Pope Julius chose December the 25th as my birthday to suppress the celebrations of solstice, an astronomical event requiring knowledge and observation of the real world to celebrate. Popes have a big fucking problem with knowledge, didn't you know? This is an absolute historical fact, so please don't whip out your dribble and start bibling your gobbledygook at me. Just stop with the little baby Jesus rubbish, okay? It's a lie. Get over it. I wasn't born on the solstice. In fact, I wasn't born at all, and I don't exist, except in your mind. Ooh. Amazingly, the lack of historical evidence for my existence rarely troubles my believers. Why am I not surprised? But just so you know you are living a delusion, here are the facts. There's not the slightest physical evidence of my existence. No artifacts, dwellings, works of carpentry, or self-written manuscripts. All claims about me came well after my alleged life, from unknown authors or from fraudulent mythical or allegorical writings. There are no Roman records of Pontius Pilate executing me. In fact, there's not a single contemporary writing that mentions me. It's all hearsay, i.e. bollocks. There were 21 great historians of the Greco-Roman world whose combined works would fill a library. They did not write or allude to any thesis that God became man, walked on the earth, died, was resurrected, and is now the invisible man in the sky. There is not a single third-party historical witness for confirmation and not one single mention of God walking the earth in any of their writings. Okay? I'm a lie. Get over it. Finally, let me address the idea that one day I will return to Earth, rapture my followers, and cleanse the planet of evil. Well, notwithstanding my non-existence, why the fuck would I come back here? The vast majority of Christians are horrible people. The most pious nation on Earth, America, is also the most destructive, aggressive military nation on the planet. Its citizens happily engage in violence, materialism, vengeance and prejudice. They condone and support money lending while they step over the poor and sick. You people make me puke. So please, stop conjuring me up as an excuse for your awful behaviour. And if you still believe in me after all I've said, you're dumber than a rock and crazier than Charlie Manson. Hi, Charlie. But that's okay. I'm sure you'll forgive me. Get it? Probably not though, because you people suck at being like me, and I wouldn't piss on you if you were burning in hell. Happy Christmas.
Hello bankers livestock, welcome to the FKN Newz. I'm just happy to be alive. Here are the headlines tonight. The World Health Organization has issued a dire warning to world leaders about the threat from mad face disease, a deadly virus which only infects leading political figures. The disease causes the sufferer to exhibit strange facial contortions and to become a lying, murdering scumbag. The Center for Face Control wrote to leaders of over 50 nations after seeing signs of mad face disease at their press conferences. So far, none have replied. Here's our science correspondent, Professor Frothy Beakercombe.
Mad face disease is spreading. According to the latest research, over half of the G20 and many other world leaders may already be infected. At first, the symptoms are hard to spot. Newly elected leaders may simply appear jovial or in a good mood. But as the reality of being lying, murdering scum for wealthy bankers in the arms trade dawns on them, their faces contort into twisted, grotesque nightmares. Bizarre, malformed expressions haunt their faces. In the final stages, all emotion is drained from them as they coldly order more slavery, exploitation and killing, whilst keeping their corporate overmasters fat and fucking happy. Mad face disease has been known about for over 10 years, but scientists are only now beginning to understand it. Research suggests people become susceptible to infection from the moment they decide to be a politician or run for office. The higher the office, the quicker mad face disease takes hold. The first known case was of course George Bush. By the end of his presidency, his face was madder than Charles Manson, crazier than quantitative easing, and more insane than fractional reserve banking. Since then, every president and presidential candidate has been infected, as well as other high-ranking members of government. European leaders from Tony Blair onwards have all been infected, and the current economic crisis in Europe is thought to be increasing the infection rate as Sarkozy, Merkel, Cameron, Berlusconi et al. Succumb. But what is mad face disease, and is it fatal? Will our world leaders start suffering slow, painful, undignified deaths, writhing in agony, their life fluids squirting out of every orifice as fear, horror and self-loathing finally dawn on them in one last moment of clarity? Sadly not.
So mad face disease is not fatal to world leaders. However, the effects of mad face disease kill millions all over the world every day, as well as causing famine, slavery, oppression, and Lady Gaga. We think the disease is caused by knowing you're a lying, murdering scumbag, whilst having to trot out an endless stream of deceit and falsehood. There is no cure for mad face disease, but the Centre for Face Control has developed a vaccine. The vaccine is made using DNA from world leaders who were found to be immune to mad face disease because they are delusional and actually believe their own bullshit. Delusion is a very serious contagious disease itself. Carried by billions of humans on Earth, it is frequently fatal, but statistically most people get through their lives without having to confront their own. It's hoped by injecting a small amount of delusion into mad face sufferers, its effects can be limited. We need to vaccinate as many politicians as possible before they run for office. So, if you suspect your leader is infected with mad face disease, contact the World Health Organization or United Nations. They have huge stocks of delusion, enough to make the whole world a little delusional if necessary. More on that story later. Thanks, and now the weather. The planet's fucked, it's your fault, and it's getting worse. Have a nice weekend!